Hello, welcome to Ephemera Files by Tommy, and today I'm going to work on the cover and the closure of my ancient Arboretum long tall journal. I have to really think about that title. And some of the things that I have pulled out to use is some sari silk, and it came like this, and so I used my curling iron to iron it because my ironing table has a stack of stuff on it, and it was just faster to do it that way, I think. May have been easier to just shove everything off the table. And anyway, that's beside the point. I've already done it and it's done. So working on the cover, I'm going to do the cover first and then I will do the closure. I have this piece, and I think it might be a Tim Holtz Backgrounds piece. I am not sure. I would have to look it up, and I can look it up if you would like that. I need to cut it down, but I also want to do a couple of things before I cut it down. So the first thing I'm going to do, this is a misprint. I don't know what happened. It was all pixelated and everything, and I'm actually going to use this to cover up the spine where I have tied the knots and sewn the signatures in. And that's just going to be really simple. I am just going to rip it and then glue it down. So I'm going to grab a ruler. Let's see. I think I want this ruler, the tear ruler, which I don't use as often as I used to because I just don't think about it. And I need to think about it, because it's very useful. Let's see, I'm going to put that on the 8 just so I can make sure I've got it straight, and then I can use this line here that's in the center to make sure that I am tearing a straight edge. I just get the grid line through the center of that, and I know that if this is lined up and this is lined up, I'm going to get a fairly straight tear. And to do this, you kind of have to do a little herky-jerky motion unless you use the water brush that came with it. If you try to rip it all at once, it's going to really not do what you want it to do. And I got out of alignment there. And see how it started to come over? Because I wasn't paying attention to what I was doing. I was trying to talk instead of doing it. And you also have to hold right where you're tearing, or else the paper could wander. That's better. And it doesn't have to be perfect. It's supposed to look like a torn edge, like a deckled edge. So it's just fine. It's just fine. And I kind of like that it's a little uneven because that just helps to do something. It helps to make it look more like it's a torn edge randomly than using a ruler. Now this time I'm going to line it up on this end because my line down here isn't straight, and I am just going to take my longest points here and put them along the edge because I want to make sure that I get that little ghosty image that I can wrap around the spine. Because you can see just a little bit of it. Even if it is a little pixelated, it's still got a bit of a design. Can you see that just so very faintly? There, that shows up better. Put this aside to use later. I am going to ink the edges of this. I'm going to tear the top and the bottom as well, just because it's not quite as tall as the cover. And so I want it to look like it's purposely not as tall instead of just accidentally not as tall. And again, I'm using my grid lines to line this up so that I can get it somewhat straight. A somewhat straight random tear is what I'm going for. So I'm going to ink this real quick around all of the edges. And then I need to fold it just so I can make sure that I get it somewhat evenly across the spine. And now I'm going to come back and ink this. And now I'm going to do one more thing just to make this look a little bit more aged, because, I mean, we're talking ancient Arboretum, right? I'm going to wad it up just a little and wad it. And I'm just very lightly going to come across and hit the high spots where I wadded it, just like this. And this is just going to add a little bit of interest and a little bit of cohesiveness for the whole, let's see, design aesthetic that I'm looking for. There, I think that looks good. And I just realized I should probably ink all of this too, so give me just a second. I didn't realize what a difference that would make. This is before I inked, and that's after. I don't know about you, but I kind of think that that just makes a really big difference, and I like it. All right, so now I'm going to glue this on. Just going to remind it where it's supposed to fold. And I'm going to use my Fabri-Tac, Fabri-Fix 3-in-1, whatever it is that you have that you use. This is my favorite liquid glue to use for almost everything. And I'm using this because this cover is going to open and close, and I want to make sure that this doesn't pop off. A lot of times when I cover my spine with something, it's fabric or it's lace, but I didn't think that that was going to go with this whole aesthetic that I have in mind for the cover. I will have lace elsewhere in here, probably. I do have some laid out that I think will go with the journal. I'm just not going to use it on the cover, and especially on the spine, because I think it would interfere. Get in there. I think it would interfere with the other things I am doing. Right. See if I can get it kind of evenly spaced from top to bottom. And push that on really, really tightly to the edge of the spine where the signatures are. That one didn't quite get snugged up. And part of it is that there's a bump right there where my signature tie is. And so it's just going to add another crinkle in there, which is fine. So there is that part. Now, what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to work in the center, but I'm going to build a collage for the front cover. And like I said, I think that this is Tim Holtz backgrounds. And what I am going to do, I will probably cut it down after I get everything else glued on. I have this that I fussy cut from the kit. I'm going to ink around the edges. All right, in the next step, I have, these are Rub and Buff, and I've got some different finishes. I've got Autumn Gold, European Gold, Antique Gold, Grecian Gold, apparently this is all gold, and Gold Leaf. All right, this one looks a little bit more coppery to me. And I am going to use this not only on these frames, but also on these stickers that I got from Dollar Tree that I'm going to use on the cover. So first, I'm going to glue this down. I'm going to find where I want the center, or find the center-ish. I think that's where I want that to be. Get my glue stick out. I think that looks pretty balanced right there. All right, and I have these two frames, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to frame each of these flower groupings with the frame. Like that. But these are pretty blah. They're pretty blah. So I am going to take first the lightest one, and that would be the Grecian Gold. And I'm going to get my baby wipe out and ready so that I can wipe off my finger. And I'm just going to, that was a lot. I'm going to make some layers. I'm going to use a few different colors because I want some depth, but I'm not going to be able to hold that up in the air to do this. And I don't mind if some of the ivory still shows through. When you use this stuff, you want to be ventilated. It is stinky. Just said I don't mind if some of the ivory shows through, but that one pretty well covered up, covered it up. All right. And then I am going to take, let's see, I'm going to use this one last. I just want a little bit of different color, so let's go with some antique. Obviously, I have not used these particular waxes yet. Yeah, I squeezed out way too much of that one. Just takes a very, 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 very little bit. Matter of fact, I think I'm going to wipe a little bit off if I can. All right, and then I'm going to take the darkest one, and I'm going to be very, very gentle, I hope. Get just the slightest little bit because I just want to hit those highest spots. Let's see if I can do this. without getting my head in your way. There we go. Teeny tiny little bit. See if this works. Just want to, there we go. I'll just kind of dab it and then spread it with my other finger. That works. I think that looks good. I do have a little bit of ivory still showing. Let's see if I can get just a little bit more. I'll just wipe some of this wax off. See if that works without destroying the paper, because it is just a paper frame. And on the next one, I will try not to be so heavy-handed. There. I think that looks good. It's got some dimension. All right, so I'm going to do the other one. Maybe leave a little bit more of that ivory showing. Let's see, and I did Grecian gold, and then antique gold, and then the autumn gold. I like how those turned out. And this is going to go here. And this one is going to go here. Is that right? Yes. All right, so I'm going to take my glue. And I'm not sure where I got these frames. It may have been one of those cheapy sites. Because I've had them for a little while. Straight up and down, straight up and down. There we go. All right. So now I need to figure out, I'm going to cut it here and here. So what is that? That is a ½ inch off of each side. There we go. And then I'm going to cut a little bit off the top, just a little. Yep, that's what I wanted. I'm going to ink around these edges. All right, I am going to put this under something heavy while I do the next step. And I put these away too soon. So I used antique gold, Grecian gold, and autumn gold on those frames. And I'm going to try to make these look a little less plastic-y, the ones that I'm going to use. And I've decided that I am going to use these 4 corners and these 2, what are those called? Hasps? Is it a door hasp? I think. And I'm going to use these 2 flowers. So I'm going to kind of do the same thing as I did before. And I need to leave them on here while I do it. Get another baby wipe out. Need to refill my little jar here. All right, so I'm going to start with the Grecian gold. And what this is doing is it's just giving it more of a metallic feel. I realize that the stickers are already supposed to look metallic, but they just really look plastic. And I think that this just makes a difference in the whole, let's see, in the whole feel of the thing. And it seems like it is taking a little bit more of the wax to cover these than it did to do the paper. The paper frames that I did. All right, so done with that one. That was the Grecian gold. Now I'm going to get a little bit of the antique gold. We're just gonna hit a little bit. Make sure I get around the corners here. The outside edges, I mean. Now just ever so lightly with the autumn gold, I'm going to hit the high spots. And I just realized I probably should have done that in the opposite order. I should have gone dark to light. I kind of like that. I think I'm just going to pat that one on. Yep, I like that. I'm just patting it instead of rubbing it. I realize it's rub and buff, but this time I'm patting. I like that. I like the look that the padding is giving. It's not so smooth. It looks a little more ancient. How do you like that? All right, those have had a chance to set up. This is dry and flat, and I got 2 hole punches because one, I am going to insert this Chantilly knob for the closure, and I just need a little small, let's see, does this have a measurement on it? I think that is not a 1/4 of an inch, but an 1/8 of an inch. Yes, it's an 1/8 inch hole punch, and then this is the regular 1/4 inch. So I'm going to unscrew this. The Chantilly knob looks like this, and then it's got this little screw that goes in on the other side of your paper. So I need to find the center. $11.5, so 5 3/4 is right there. So it's actually going to be in the side of that frame, and I'm okay with that. It's a lot of thickness for this poor little hole punch to go through. I probably should have gotten the big bite. So I'm just going to, whoops, drop the screw. I'm just going to slide that in there. I wish I had not put the pocket on yet. I didn't think about that when I put the pocket in. I got a little ahead of myself, but that happens. I would normally have my face right down in there to make sure I was threading it right. And I don't want you to have to look at the top of my head. Once you get it started, it goes just fine. There. All right, so that's going to be part of our closure. I am going to use these two on the back side because I'm going to punch through here. And I think that I actually want to go 1/3 and 1/3. Or approximately 1/3 and 1/3. How about that? And so I need to get a ruler. I'll get my Tim Holtz ruler out. And this measures 11 1/4. So half of 11 1/4 is going to be, let's see, 5 1/2 and 1/8. So that's what? 5 1/2 and 1/8 is 5 5/8. So I need to find 5 5/8, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right there's the center. So I'm going to put my 0 on there. And that tells me the center. Now I am wanting to scoot this in a little bit, keeping it in the center. And I want to come in about 1/3, but I don't know that I'm going to be able to get right at 1/3. So right there's the center. So let's just go out an equidistant from the center. And let's make that, do I want 3? Do I want 2 1/2? 3 is going to be 6 inches between 2 1/2. I'm going to go with 2 1/2. And I'm just going to put a little dot right there. And a little dot right there. I'm going to go ahead and punch. And now I'm going to take these two floralish designs. I'm actually going to put it right over that hole. I went ahead and punched the hole because I knew that there was going to be a lot of thickness. And I think that having the hole already there will help with being able to get through these two dots. All right, and so now I'm going to punch again, and we'll see if this goes through. If it does not, I'll have to get the big bite out. But I want to get right in the center there. Can you see my head? I hope not. I'm going to punch through that sticker, and I'm going to have to go get my big bite. Actually, I think in this case, I might be able to just use my crocodile. Yeah, that was much easier. Oops, that wasn't what I wanted to do. But I have a little, it's snagged. I'm gonna get a pair of scissors out of here and just cut that piece of plastic off. I think I'm gonna have to add some glue. Down with the clothespin while I work on this one. All right, so is that going to stay on there? Nope. Let's get some glue on that one too. Okay, while that glue is setting up, I want to go ahead and get these, what I say they were, hasps. And I know that I'm going to need glue on these. And I want to come in an inch, I think, an inch and a half from the end. Inch and a half. Yes. I'm going to add some glue. I am going to go all the way to the edge. At least I'm going to attempt to. It actually has to come in because it can't curl. Okay, I'll just put it on the Tim Holtz background. It still looks good. Except for now I have glue all over the place that I need to get off of there. Okay, let's do this. This is one of the things that I like about Fabri-Tac. It kind of acts like, I don't know if you remember rubber cement. That's what we used early on in school. After paste, we graduated to rubber cement. I don't remember ever taking glue to school. Definitely didn't have glue sticks. All right, now let's try this again and see if I can get it right the first time. I'm going to do the same thing down here. I'm going to come in an inch and a half. And now for the corners. Now I have to decide, because I moved that to the inside, do I want that to be there? Or do I want to keep it down? I think I want to keep it down there. Or I guess I should say on the outer corners, because one's going to go up there. Right, and to the back with these two. All right, let's see. Okay, so before I put the sari silk through the holes, I want to just kind of make this look a little more finished. And so I've just got these hole reinforcers. These are already gold. I didn't even have to color them. And I'm just going to put those around there. You really won't probably see them, or see much of them anyway. But I just want it to have a more finished look. All right, and so I've got my sari here. And I have semi-ironed it with a curling iron. And I am going to feed this through the holes. Now, sari can be very fragile sometimes. And so just be really careful when you're pulling and pushing and all that good stuff. Because you can see there's a couple of holes in that part. All right, and then let's see, which way was I doing that? I was going on the inside. That's right, I pulled it too far through. And I'm going to do the same thing in this other hole. Just make it tiny as I can before I feed it through so that I can get enough of it through to grab. There we go. All right, so now, whoops, that wasn't supposed to happen. So we'll just go back down here with that, and then I will re-glue it. Apparently that one hadn't set all the way yet. All right, I'm going to get my ends here, get them somewhat even, and then I'm going to very gently, that just is going to have to be re-glued. Very gently pull that through. And I don't think that they were exactly the same length, so I'm going to pull just a little bit more on. Let's see, is it this one? Nope, it's that one. There we go. Now let's see if I can glue this back down without making a big huge mess. There we go. And now I can bring this over here, and I'm just going to go ahead and tie my bow. And the way that these little chantilly knobs work that I like so much is that I can adjust it to where it needs to be to hold it closed, to hold the journal closed, but I don't have to untie it every time. I can just slide it up and over the knob, just like that. All right, so I got the cover done, and I think that was all that I was doing, was the cover and the closure. And when that little piece of glue has set all the way, then I'll take that clothespin off. I like that. I may add a little something on the back. I may leave it as is. But I like how that turned out so far. I still haven't decorated the inside all the way, and I haven't filled pockets or anything like that. But it's getting there. I am very happy with how that turned out. I will have links to Nanine at Collage Type and Tania at Tatty Treasure below for the kits that I used. And I encourage you to go and check out their shops. They make some really beautiful things. Thank you for joining me today. And as always, be kind. Bye.